those poems you can't quite get the lines you want. I finished it a little while ago. Marc Chagall did a painting called Self-Portrait with Seven Fingers, and it's a very vibrant painting which he did in the 20s, full of bright colours, and there's a window in the background which looks out on Paris and the Eiffel Tower. All I've done is take the title and give it a different setting. I suppose there's a window in this poem, but it looks out over Swansea Bay at night. Self-Portrait with Seven Fingers for Jean, after Chagall. Love, the sea once stretched from now till when, from here till then, from me to you. The sky was borrowed, the sky was blue, and on my hand were seven fingers. Parting the blind each night, I saw two sails go sailing out. Watch after watch I breathed for two. The moon was red, the moon was blue, and on my hand were seven fingers. Stars, wreathed with leaves, all night outside our window weaved, with no other port to steer them to. The poles were black, the poles were blue, and on my hand were seven fingers. I dreamed your dreaming face, your doldrummed eyes, the lotus land of you. Our ship sailed on without a crew. It's daybreak now. The world is round, the world is new. And on my hand are seven fingers. And I'll finish with this poem. It's an anti-war poem, but I'm not anti-all wars. Just wars where brave men are misled by politicians into fighting under a false flag, so they die for a lie. I taught art in Penland School for years, and every so often the army would arrive for a recruiting drive. So this is about a kid I knew called Waters. Remember Waters, Form 5E? Angel-faced, hot-headed little sod, forever giving lip, but with a cheeky grin you couldn't help but like. Muddy Waters, always on the mitch and mad on guns, had an uncle in Korea and a brother in Northern Ireland. I used to try and put him straight about the militarists, try to plant it in his head just why it was his country always needed him to fight its dirty little wars. Make him think about who throughout history was more likely to end up rich because of them, and who a forgotten hero and or dead. Vietnam, Suez, Cyprus, Afghanistan, the Falklands. Waters of a duck's house. He wanted action, adventure, travel, friendship, and a steady job. So when, on Army Careers Day, senior management sent for his class to go down to the hall, I wouldn't send them. Kept them doing art instead. Not long after, he left, then turned up in class one day in full regimental uniform. Trooper Waters, a man his school and country could be proud of at last. The kids stared in awe and admiration, as at some god. But I saw only a naughty schoolboy under the carpet. Troubled Waters, the smart aleck kid, grinning outside the hedgeroom, waiting for the cane, under a hoodie, dashing across the yard mid-lesson and disappearing through a hedge. The kid, Mr. Payne, pastoral care, once upended and shook by the ankles, screaming and laughing and pleading to be let go, as his pens and fags and money scattered on the floor. That's years ago now, and waters on waters have passed through the system since then. If I open a door, his memory is still in the corridor, cooling off. And remember Brooksy, his bosom pal and faithful tributary, short and slight with freckles. Little Brooksy, who'd never said boo to a goose in years one to four, the kid who Waters persuaded to join as well, for company. He told me later it could easily have been him that cocked it in Axis of Terrorland, because he was the one immediately behind Waters in the 12-man patrol through the streets of the quiet little hamlet whose name he didn't know, had never heard of before. Little Brooksy, watching his own and Waters' back when the sniper's bullet, fired by a kid almost exactly his age, struck Waters in the neck, and he fell out of life and luck. Still Waters, damned and deep and poppy crimson, like all the immortal cenotaphed and war memorial dead, from Port Said to Port Stanley to Helmand Province, not knowing the who, the what, or the why of what hit him, not knowing the politics of the pen, the bullet, or the buck, the simple truth from the spent lie. Thank you very much.